Audra Yankton, empowerment and intuition coach, and this is Unveil You, the podcast where spirituality meets practicality to help you step fully into your power. Each episode, we'll talk about what it really means to align with your higher self, trust your inner knowing, and walk through life with grounded, soul-led confidence. Let's get into it. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Unveil You podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with me. I'm speaking with a woman named Kimberly, who I know near and dear to my heart from a group that we're both a part of. And she just has a really beautiful story that I had to get on this podcast because it is so inspiring, and I think more people need to hear about it. So, Kimberly was previously diagnosed with MS back in 2000, and after 25 years, she is now living symptom-free. And her journey weaves together both traditional medicine, inner healing, and energetic techniques that I speak about in my coaching business as well. So I just thought it would be really great to have somebody here to connect all the dots together. Her story is just a really powerful example of how emotional health and physical health are both really deeply connected. So again, I'm thrilled to have her on today, and I can't wait to dive in to see how she did it and what listeners like you can take away from this inspiring story. So Kimberly, go ahead and introduce yourself and to the audience here.
Oh, thank you so much, Audra. Wow, I'm so honored.
Me too.
And oh my gosh, I'm blushing. So, thank you so much. Yes, so I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 25 years ago. And I've had a range of motions of not being able to walk, vertigo, stuff on my left side, the numbing, the tingling, the cognitive, all of. And basically, when I was, and as of today, and I'm a Reiki healer. I became a Reiki master in 1999, a healer. And I kind of stepped away from that for a bit for about 20 years. I do it remote healings and stuff. I did that basically because I had a bad car accident in October 1999 with a concussion for a year. So I thought, maybe I'll figure out some things to help, and then became a master after I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Um, and then, life just kind of happened for a while, and I was always pretty strict with my diet. I think that really helped me a lot with the inflammation. And acupuncture was like super phenomenal. So when I talk about diet, it's like sugar, alcohol. I would drink and I would have coffee, but I didn't go super crazy. There were times when I love my wine and stuff, but as I got
Sure.
older,
Well, I mean, we're all humans, right? We got to enjoy
we're
a
still
little bit.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. But as I got older, I started to wean, and I don't even really drink now. I have alcohol in here, and I forget I even have it. It's
I know.
even,
We always joke about how we have like a bottle of Crown for guests, but like it's
oh my
sat
gosh.
untouched for
Yeah,
actually years now. So
yeah. I'll have beautiful bottles of champagne, like real champagne, and I just even forget. I don't even know if it's still good.
yeah, yeah. Well, Kim lives in the beautiful land of California, and oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
gosh, they have yeah. I No one could blame you for drinking the wine out there. So,
I grew
Or-
up in the wine country, so there
oh
you
my
go.
God,
I
what a
used to
dream!
I used to bottle wine.
Was that like
I
a kid job back in the day that they?
Okay, this was like so fun. We lived up in this area that they called it like the clubhouse area, and it's up in the wine country. My mom and I built the house. It's 8 acres,
Oh wow.
and my sister was one of my older. I have three older sisters. One of my sisters was there, and it was so fun because in high school I would help cater. I
Okay.
and anyway, so they would do different events at the clubhouse, and one of them was bottling wine. So it was so fun because you take this thing and you press it down into the wine bottle, and then sometimes you put it in your mouth. And
Oh,
it's just, yeah,
that's so funny.
right?
That reminds
I mean,
me when I was in college, I studied food science in my undergrad.
oh,
And
fun.
my senior year, because you had to be 21 to take the class, we had this
Yeah.
class called Vines, Wines, and You. And
Oh my gosh.
it was only 8 weeks long. And it was actually treated like a 16-week class as far as the content, but they crammed it into 8 weeks. And on top of that, it was an evening class where you actually did drink wine. So the trick was to sit in the back of the classroom where the bottles ended up for the samples, and then you could just drink on those all night, which to all of my listeners, not a good idea.
Not a good
Turns out you
idea.
actually need to be sober to retain information. So,
Yeah, you do actually need to be sober. Oh my gosh, that's
I
so
did get
funny.
an A minus or a B plus or something in the class
Oh,
though,
of
to be
course.
clear. So yeah,
Oh my gosh.
wine can, still
Yeah.
still add some spice to life. So
Yeah. And it's just always, I don't know, it's just romantic.
yeah.
I like the whole romantic piece
Oh,
of
that's so
wine.
fun.
Yeah.
It's a good example of, and so actually, Kim, we're gonna get into that in some of the questions of like,
Yeah.
definitely diet. Sounds like it helped you a lot.
Yes.
So that is something we're definitely gonna dig into more. So fun. Come from such a
Yeah.
beautiful part of the world. So I think I want to go back to the very beginning then. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
what was happening in your life like when you were first diagnosed with MS?
Well, I did have a lot of stress going on. So I was in sales and I loved my job. I was pretty successful and I had that really bad car accident. I had not to say, ooh, tooting or whatever, but I had a BMW and it was totaled and it was on both sides. And so, if you have a BMW that's totaled, that's not a good sign. And thank goodness I didn't have a passenger because the right-hand side was in 2 to 3 feet and they probably would not have,
It
um,
always happens how it's meant to happen, right?
yes, it
Car
does.
accidents, I do believe, can be wake-up calls for people. I've been
Well,
through
it
one
was.
myself that I'll talk about on a later podcast, but I totally get where you're coming from. Yeah.
Oh, it was a wake-up call. And I didn't totally listen.
It's okay. That's your spirit's journey, right? That's your soul journey. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay, even though I couldn't deal with the lights and the noises, because I had a concussion for a year, it was pretty
Ah,
bad.
that's a long
And
time. Yeah.
yeah, they can last a year.
I
And
had no
so,
idea. Wow.
oh yeah, I was pretty lucky. I didn't have any broken bones and anything. I mean, after the accident, I had like glass everywhere, all over everything.
Yeah.
Went to the hospital. They took it all out. Whoops, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're
But
good.
anyway, there's my hands. Um, so yeah, and then I got diagnosed. I guess it was like 7 months later. So I was carrying a birthday cake at a friend's house, and I dropped it. And I was giving a Reiki treatment to a friend, and then, but the energy just didn't leave. But then I dropped the cake. So then I went to acupuncture because I was doing it for my concussion. And they said, oh, because it got worse. And they said, oh, you should go to, Western medicine. So I went. This is pre-HIPAA,
Mm-hmm.
guys. This is 2000.
Yes.
And
Running that clock
oh my
back. Yeah.
gosh, 2000. Some of you guys probably weren't even born or you're in toddlers or I don't know,
I was
diapers or
born
something.
already, if that makes
Were
sense.
you born? You were
Yeah,
in
I was.
diapers or
Yeah, I'm a
something.
90s baby.
You
So
were
yeah.
at the playground, but
Yeah, you're actually right about that. Yeah, I was probably on a
you
playground.
were
Yeah.
at the playground. Yeah. It wasn't my kind of playground, but it was a playground.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my God, so funny. So anyway, long story short is I go into like, one of those urgent cares and they do the x-ray and then another x-ray and then the nurse calls me and I said, "Oh, you got to go get an MRI." And I just hear like Charles Short, the wah 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 wah. I'm like,
Mhm.
"What?" And she said, "Yeah." I go, "Well, why?" And she goes, "Well, it looks like you have multiple sclerosis." I'm like, "What?" And I thought it was Jerry's kids. So Jerry's kids is multiple dystrophy, and I
Mm.
didn't know multiple sclerosis and multiple dystrophy. He always had I don't even know if they still do, but he'd have this fundraiser, which was really beautiful for children at Easter time. So I go in and they do all the different MRIs without contrast. And yeah, I had the lesions on
Mm.
my spine and my head, in my brain. So when you get an MRI, what they do is they do with and without dye just to see if any of the lesions are active.
Mm. Okay.
And the lesions, it's the myelin sheath which is damaged. And the myelin sheath gives the messages for me to talk, for me to eat, for me to feel,
That makes sense.
walk. Yeah.
Yep.
It's like the messenger. And
Okay.
sorry if I'm not being complete. Please, if anybody says, "Oh, she got it all wrong," just keep it to yourself, okay?
No,
I, I mean,
nothing like
I'm not
that will
gonna,
happen here.
I'm not a
Yeah.
doctor. I'm not a medical, for a while there, I described it perfectly because that was
Well,
my world.
I was just gonna say, like, my understanding of autoimmune diseases is that all of them are so different, and it's so
Yes.
hard for any even one doctor to deeply understand what's happening. And it's why it takes
Yes.
so long, right? Like, I don't have to tell you,
Yes.
it takes so long. Typically, like when you kind of have it like backwards where like something happened to you, you went in and a nurse noticed stuff and they're like, hey, go get an MRI for this. But more often than not, it seems like people I know with autoimmune diseases, they go years feeling like total crap and they have no idea
Yeah.
what's going on. And because it's just like, how can you be specialized? Everything is so different in autoimmune diseases. So,
Well, what the doctor said, he said, he goes, well, it looks like you have multiple sclerosis. I'm like, what? And my mom's with me. Of course, she just panicked and she froze. And he handed me a pamphlet, and basically said, kind of get your life together. And yeah, I don't know if you'll walk in 10 years. I don't really know. There is no cure. And there's two medications. There's a third one coming out, the ABCs. And he said, but if you want to go get another opinion, I understand. Of course I did. I went to like 5 doctors.
yeah,
And
yeah. I
I
mean, that's
stuck,
something you want to make sure you have right.
I,
Absolutely.
yeah, I stuck with the one who said maybe,
Okay. Well, I mean,
you
yeah,
know,
better than mom. Well, you're never gonna walk again. So
right,
that's not
exactly.
what you want to hear when you're going into
No.
something like that. Yeah.
So I did do the drugs for a bit. I did Copaxone, which is a daily injection. It's in your the fatty part, the fatty part of like your stomach or your
Or
bum,
those the buccal cells, or what do they call that? I can't remember.
I
Yeah.
can't remember either,
Yeah.
but
I know what you're talking about.
sub something. I don't know. I mean, again, like I say, I haven't been in that for a bit, so when you're in it, you know all of it, and you can spew it.
Yep.
And
Yep.
this will go circle back to how did I heal myself? But
Yeah. Well,
it was a pretty dark time. I was pretty scared. Actually, I
yeah.
was very scared. I was really scared. My family was scared. And what I did to a lot of coping is I just educated myself as much as possible. So the drug companies, I imagine they still do. They would do all these different dinners and lunches. The drug companies, meaning the ones that had the drugs for multiple sclerosis. So I'd go to
Yeah.
as many as I possibly could and learn as much as I possibly could. So, it's kind of interesting to me that here we are 25 years later and there's still no cure. And it's also interesting to me that on the television, there was one show I was binging because my daughter had Hulu. It's one of those podcast shows. I'm like, I'm going to watch as much as I can before it, expires October 1st.
Yeah,
But
right. Yeah. They put like
it was like
put
the
the gas
99
on, like,
cent
hey, you gotta
special.
watch this. Yeah. And then you've been
Yeah.
binging all
It was
weekend. I
like,
get it.
yeah, it was like 99 cents for 3 months. And then she went away to college and she's like, Mom, I'm like, please don't renew it because this is so dangerous. It's so
Oh,
fun.
they don't let you share passwords anymore lately, actually, anyway. So it
Oh,
worked
even
out.
better.
They just
Okay.
changed it. Yeah, I
No
know we gotta
sharing.
redo our streaming because I'm like, God, I can't even go on a vacation and like watch my stuff without them being like, hey, who are you? I'm like, it's my account. Yeah. So I get you. Yeah.
I know.
Mhm.
You're in a hotel room in somewhere. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
oh my God. Okay, we got to stay on track because I'll just completely forget what I was
I know,
saying.
right?
I
Yeah.
know.
Well, anyway, you were saying you were listening to a podcast on Hulu, basically.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 So anyway, it wasn't a podcast. It was one of those shows about podcast. It was really
Oh,
funny,
yeah. I
but
get you.
really funny. But anyway, so the point is the commercial was about relapsing, remitting MS, and it's a drug,
Mhm.
and which is fine until they have the disclaimer, which is, oh, and it can do this, and it can do PML, and it can do, you can die, and da, da, da.
Ugh.
So, those drugs are really, 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 really powerful, and there's a reason, and there's a lot of side effects. So, very, very early on, I said, you know what? I'm going to do everything I can in my power and figure it out to not do that and to mitigate my symptoms. So I, just tried to mitigate stress and diet, and I did a lot as much walking or kind of physical movement that I could. I didn't really meditate at the time because
Mm.
I don't know, it was still so big and ooh, meditation, it's so overwhelming. Like you just sit in a
Yeah,
corner
isn't
and you
it
don't do
funny? A
anything.
lot of people are so overwhelmed by meditation, and really, if you think about it, it's really the simplest thing is
It
just to
is.
get quiet, right?
And
Yeah.
it's
So,
so beneficial, right?
yeah, if you're overthinking it, you're doing it wrong.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
there is no thinking. That's the whole point. Stop thinking.
yeah.
So then uh there was a time that was another very, very stressful time, and I got shingles and it was really pretty bad. So I reached out to another acupuncturist and like this is the dedication of stuff I would do to keep whole. I lived in Hermosa Beach and I drove to Santa Monica, which now again, this was not 20 years ago. This was like, I don't know, '07, '08. So not quite 20.
So dealing with it for about 8 years at that point.
Something like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So I but the shingles were pretty bad and I was scared because I got on the drugs that you have to do drugs. I can't remember, it's something with a V
Okay.
because it can spread, it can get into your eye, you can go blind. I mean, it can get pretty nasty.
Shingles
Um
is horrible. My younger sister got it one time. She was not very old. She was like middle
oh.
school age, and
Oh, that's unheard of. I've never
oh
heard of somebody so young.
yeah, yeah, she's got kind of these like different skin things,
Ailments?
and yeah, I remember just how painful it was, and
Yeah.
it actually taught me a lot about how nerves work too, because of like,
Yes.
it's like the top left over here and the bottom
Yes.
down here, and stuff like that. But man, that was really like when you say shingles, I cringe because I'm like, I know firsthand, not from having shingles, but watching my sister have that for a
Yeah.
while. Just how it's truly so painful. I feel like
Yeah.
no one understands how painful shingles is. So yeah.
Yeah, it can be pretty bad. And so a friend of mine who was her son was going to the same school as my daughter. They were like in preschool or one of the I don't know, one of those things. She had cancer and she told me about this acupuncturist in Santa Monica. So he was amazing, but I went there 5 to 6 times a week and that was my life.
Yeah.
Because I drove an hour, had the session, which was like he'd always do longer, like 2 hours or maybe an hour and a half, and then drive home. And I'd always go get a fresh juice after because I'd need to get something. And I was on a very, very strict diet. I can't
Hmm.
remember what he called it, but it was very, very, very strict. No, nothing processed. No nuts, which is kind of interesting.
Oh,
No,
that is interesting. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
no
basically,
nuts.
I had a friend that put it a good way one time. It's like if it doesn't grow from the earth, like I can't eat it or something like that. Like, was that kind of like the
Yeah.
diet you were on?
Kind of. I know there was no rice. There was nothing packaged. I'm trying to think if I even had any meat. I don't even know I must have had some type of protein. I can't
I was gonna
remember.
say, I'm gonna guess you
No
had zero
dairy.
red meat. Red meat seems like one of those things that
Yeah, I
you can't
think it
have.
was. I
Yeah,
think it was zero, but it was very, very extreme. I did that for like 2.5, 3 years.
yeah, yeah.
But it was really helpful, It was really, really helpful from an inflammatory. So I've done all kinds of diets. I've done them all. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I want to ask a question then. So it's like because we're talking about both like Western medicine and Eastern medicine here.
Yeah.
What was the point? Like you kind of mentioned this ad you saw on Hulu, but like really, what was the point where you were like, okay, Western medicine alone is not gonna cut it
It's
for me. Like
scary.
yeah, that's scary. So like, so what happened? What in like happened where you were like, yeah, I gotta seek something else out. My doctors aren't gonna just solve this for me, you know?
So it was when I would go to all those different lunches and dinners,
Oh yeah.
and I met so many MSers, and people with MS. And it was interesting. Nobody really resonated with me because
Oh.
there weren't a lot of people were kind of my life is my illness, which I understand, and there's no judgment there, but I didn't want for that to be. And then some of the people that did resonate, they would do like the Avonex. Now it might be different now. I have no idea.
Hmm.
But it was once a week, a big badass shot. And then you would have flu symptoms for two to
Ah,
3 days after. So your week is a disaster.
yeah,
And
half of it's
then,
spent sick, it sounds like.
yeah, you're sick. And then the beta seron, because it was ABC, beta seron was okay. Um, and that was, I think, twice a week. Copaxone was kind of intense. That was every week, every day. And then they came up with another one. And then I remember when they came up with another one that was a really big deal. It was a trial. Well, you're probably too young to hear about this one. But that was when PML, they started having cases of PML where people died. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? So the first red flag for me was listening, having friends tell me, oh, I'm doing the Avonox shot and I'm bedridden for 2 to 3 days.
Oh,
That scared the shit out of
horrible.
me. I'm like,
Yeah,
no, thank you. Uh-uh.
that's
And
not
then
living.
no. And then I knew a guy and he was about 50, nice gentleman. And I think he was on beta serin, which I think it was twice a week or maybe 3 times. It wasn't helping him. He couldn't walk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
These
like, what's the
drugs weren't
point?
helping these people. They
Yeah.
were
It
not
sounds like they weren't
helping.
helping and they were hurting on top of that.
Well, then they had to do more drugs because
Ah,
you start to get all these other stupid things that happen.
yeah.
So, like, you get, okay, you're taking this for this, but then you have all these symptoms. And then, so I knew people that I am not kidding you, they would have like 10 things a day. They'd have their shot and then all their, and the pills weren't necessarily, you know, it wasn't necessarily like good stuff like omega-3 and D3 or herbs or any of that stuff.
Hmm.
So that those kind of red flags got me pretty scared. And
Yeah.
I
Kind of
kind of
got you starting to seek other stuff out at that point, it sounds like.
exactly,
Yeah. Okay.
including Enya.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know
Like the
Enya?
singer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh
just had
my
to
God.
throw that
Honestly,
in.
no, I mean, like, and we're going to talk about this, but like, if it got your mindset in a better place, then absolutely that's part of your treatment plan, right? So,
Yeah.
oh, that's amazing.
So, I mean, yeah. It's funny because, I kind of go, God, you also have a little bit of, you know, how did I get through it and how am I on the other side? And a lot of people I know aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a interesting place to be. I don't want to do an analogy of a fire. That's not, but it's I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty humble about it. I don't go out. A lot of people don't even know. I'm
Yeah.
pretty quiet about it. And yeah. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, absolutely it does. And yeah, I just have to double click on that of like it's like there's nothing wrong with the way you're living your life. I think it's like when I met you and like heard your story, it just like alarm bells went off in my head. Like this is something that people need to know about because
Oh, thank you.
I know people with autoimmune diseases that like just live with the impression that they can't ever have a normal life again or they can't, they will never have another day of their life where they're not feeling sick or crappy or, all the stuff that you're
Yeah.
talking about. So, like this is something that I feel passionately like has to be put
Hmm.
out there because I'm like people need to see real proof in order to like
Yeah.
anchor onto something to like pull them forward. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
Again,
definitely.
like thank you for all the honesty and just talking about that because I think this is something that people can relate to
Right.
and knowing that there is another side of an autoimmune disease. I think a lot of people,
Right.
to your point, they don't think there is. Therefore, how could there be? If you don't think it's possible for you, you can't make a change. So the fact that you're here now and talking about this openly and just that alone, it feels like a small effort here, but it comes in ripples, right? Like who knows?
Oh, thank
Maybe
you.
someone in 5 years will listen to this and be like,
Oh,
"Wow, there
beautiful.
is actually hope on the other side." So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
just wanted to just double click on
uh,
that piece
oh,
alone
thank
because
you.
this is exactly I think part of probably your soul's mission, right? Is to go through something
Mm,
like that and then
it
come
is.
out on
Yeah.
the other side and be
Yeah.
able to speak in that way. But and that actually brings me to kind of my next question for you, which was I know you kind of shared with me before, like you were going through stuff in your old marriage and
Hmm.
your emotional health, and that
Yeah.
played a really big role in kind of what was going on during this time for you.
Right.
And I'm curious, like, how do you think that impacted your physical health? Like, how did that relate to that? And do you think that kind of maybe even exacerbated some of the symptoms a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If
Yeah.
you're not, and I have no ill words or feelings for my ex-husband. He's a good
Yeah.
soul. And for some reason we had to cross paths here, you know.
Yeah.
And
Everything happens
there's
for a reason, right?
everything
I
happens
really
for a
believe that.
reason.
Hmm.
And if anything, I'm really appreciative because I had to learn those lessons. And
Absolutely.
it is what it is, but yeah. I guess the biggest healing, and I don't know if this will kind of answer your question. So one of the symptoms I had, another one was it was about 10 years ago. I had ringing in my ears.
Mm.
And it was really bad. It was really bad. And I thought it was autoimmune. So I went to all kinds of doctors and I had my ears tested. I have perfect hearing. So that
Hmm.
was spirit talking to me.
I was gonna say, I remember when I was going through certain different spiritual awakening points that sometimes I would get the ringing in my ears too, not in like a way that concerned me necessarily, but I mean, if I had an autoimmune disease, maybe I would have been a lot more concerned about it. But I remember
Yeah.
kind of being able to put it together after a couple weeks of that, like, oh, it was literally like my spirit guides trying to talk to me. And
Yeah.
that would be when I'd get quiet and like kind of, get my downloads or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, that was, I think the car accident was the first. And
Hmm.
the MS was, and I remember somebody a really good friend of mine gave me the Louise Hay, Your Body Talks or something like that. When you look up, and I think I read it. It would be interesting to read it now, but I think I got mad because I was like, no, that's not true.
It can't be this simple, right? Like,
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny?
it really is. And like I think that's actually a very relatable thing for listeners is kind of like I remember when I was a lot younger and my dad was teaching me EFT, which I'm sure we're going to
Yeah.
talk about on this in just a minute, but emotional
We
freedom
will.
techniques for like
Yes.
tapping if in layman's terms. Um, but yeah, just kind of thinking that like he was always telling me it's between your ears is like literally controlling everything, even things happening outside of you. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
wasn't spiritually awakened as a child, so like I literally was kind of like, it's not that easy. I'm a
Yeah.
teenager and I'm going through a lot, and it's not just as easy as controlling my mindset. But now that I've gotten older and
Yeah.
had my spiritual awakening and I'm so connected to spirit and the universe, I'm just like,
Mm.
oh, it really is that easy though. And so I can understand how it would be a frustrating thing to hear that though. It kind of sounds like, oh no, you'll get through it. Just you're fine, you're fine. It's like when you don't understand though that like mindset plays such a part in healing,
It's so
it is a
powerful.
frustrating answer. It's like it's not that easy though. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? So yeah, I get you
Well,
completely.
I didn't really understand until really since like January. People say the 3D world,
Yeah,
and then they'd say the new world, and then they say the 5D world. And well, you and I both know because we're in Jessica's community, but I
yeah.
mean, I've been up to the 9D with a practitioner I'm working with now. So I've
Oh,
gone
really?
all the
Like
way
the
up.
ninth dimension, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I've gone up to 9 and I've been back, and then we've played with 4D and then 6D, and 6D is your future self. So I've seen my 6D,
Wow.
and I've jockeyed back and forth. I mean, we've done some really insane, insane sessions. Really beautiful, really beautiful. But I
Yeah.
guess my point, wrapping back, when you're in the 3D world, and I didn't really understand that, it's really heavy. It's a
Yeah.
heavy place. And, people latch on to that heaviness like, oh, life is hard. It's a struggle. Well, be careful with your
It is
words
if you say it is, right?
because guess what?
Hmm.
Your words are so powerful. They create. So I kind of premise that because here I am, like, oh, you've got this. And then everybody's freaking out around me. I'm freaking out. And it is what it is. And that's
Hmm.
just what my journey was. But that wouldn't happen today. I'm not
Yeah.
in that world.
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I can
not.
even tell as you're talking, like you kind of were saying, like, oh man, it's hard to remember, like back
I
that
can't
far, or
even.
whatever. It's like it just is a testament to show like how far like a mindset shift can take you. It's like you don't even resound with the person that you were for, however long dealing with an autoimmune disease. It just is
Yeah,
a testament to like how effective mindset work is and energy work and acupuncture and all these other Eastern medicine things, like just
right.
it's shifted you. You're not even the same person anymore.
No. So when you go back and you say what really, so number one, and I actually, I have a podcast also, and one of my recent episodes
Oh,
was,
yes. By the way, that is linked in the show notes. We'll have
okay,
the
thank
show
you.
notes here so that our listeners can check
I
him
wasn't
out
trying
too.
to plug, but maybe I
Oh, no, that
was.
was
I
going to
don't
happen
know.
anyway, so don't
I
worry.
know it was. But anyway, one of my more recent episodes is the first step to healing is guess what? Make the decision.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hello, do I want it?
Isn't that a
I
funny concept to think that like if you're sick that you wouldn't want to be healed? But like I've actually met a lot of people and
They
that's another thing
don't.
my dad used to say when he was teaching me energy work was basically like,
Yeah,
do you even want to get better? And it's like the answer seems simple. Like, of course I do. But if you really sit
right,
and think about it, if nothing's changing, it's like you have to think like, why am I stuck in this mindset? Why do I not want to heal? And because some
right.
people, right, like they like to that it's hard. I don't know. I don't
It's
want
an
to think like they
identity.
like to be sick, but it's like
It
Sometimes
is.
sometimes
Yeah.
some people I feel get stuck because they like the attention or they like, not having like certain responsibilities or whatever it is for them, it keeps
Mhm.
them stuck in not moving forward. So
And it's a delicate thing because I don't want to put judgment or this or that or get
oh,
any backlash on
absolutely
kind of
not.
saying
Yeah,
that. So it's a delicate, but it's a personal choice.
it is.
Now,
About getting really honest with yourself, even if you think on the
right.
surface, I'm not doing that. Like, really think about it. Like, are you? Are you holding on to something you don't need to, you know?
Right. Now, there are some things where people really maybe might be born with something and it's a physical something that they truly cannot, but they
Hmm.
want to. Well, guess what? You're going to be creative and you might have an adaptive way of how you do that. So
Absolutely.
it's not, I can't, I do it my way. And that's
Yes,
so empowering.
it is.
So, I think that's also a really, really, really big key because people could say, yeah, but guess what? You know what? You know what? I have something, flat feet, and I can't. Well, maybe God gave you or you chose this world with those flat feet because you're not supposed to do it that way, and you're
Mhm.
supposed to do it the other way because there
Exactly.
really are no mistakes.
Yeah.
But this
Use this,
goes,
like, we design our bodies on the other side, right? That's a crazy concept,
it
right?
is a
But like
crazy
we
concept.
design every cell of our body. Everything isn't very
Wow.
intentional. Isn't it wild?
It is. It is. So there really are no mistakes, but so that is that's number one. And
Yeah.
then after that, I mean, it's a potpourri of all these different resources of what do we want to do.
Hmm.
And I think, I don't know if this is the segue to go, but my first three pillars were first, it was going back to running and moving my body. Because
Hmm.
I did a very long time. I used to do 5 and 10 Ks, but
Oh, when you say three pillars, you mean three big things that helped you heal the most, you mean?
yes.
Okay,
And
okay, perfect. I
well,
just wanted to make sure. So
yes,
number
yes,
one,
yes.
moving your body. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
So actually, well, okay, let's kind of backtrack. The
Yeah.
last 2.5 years have been the final touch of my healing. And it wasn't just healing the remnants of an autoimmune disease, it was also really going deep and healing just what hadn't been healed. And so, to explain that a little bit more, if you don't feel an emotion when something's happening, let's say somebody says, and this is not just the 7-year-old Kimberly, it could be the 45-year-old Kimberly or the
Hmm.
55-year-old Kimberly. But no, don't wear that because, we don't want to impress like that. And then if I don't come back and say, but this is what I want to, then it's a suppressed emotion and your body holds on to that.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then let's talk about, as a 7-year-old and you're getting thrown in a swimming pool and you're frightened and you're scared and you don't know what to do. And then they rescue you every single time, but it
Hmm.
happens every single week. Well, that is going to affect you as an adult. It's going to affect you when you're
It is.
7, 8, all the until you go back and do the deep work.
Absolutely. And that's something in my coaching business that it's kind of like the number one place I like to start with people is like, okay, let's talk to the child version of you, that inner
Right.
child, and what happened to them, even if it seemingly didn't seem like a big deal. Like as an
Right.
adult, right, we put filters over stuff and it's like, oh,
Right.
that's fine. That's something kids just go through. But no, like truly put your shoes in the, like for me, it's like, 12-year-old me going through something in middle school, right? Like
Yeah.
go like even though I'm an adult and I'm past it and I'm good, it's like
Yeah.
I had to go back and really understand like, okay, how did 12-year-old me feel about that? Because that was pretty devastating. Like to
Right.
to like go through bullying or something like that. That
Yeah.
was really hard. And even though again, I feel like I'm over it, like my whole platform is about like overcoming like this fear of visibility. Well,
Oh.
where do you think that came from? Like,
Oh, right.
right? Like it's
Yeah.
like why can't I get over this? I feel
Yeah.
healed. I feel good, but it's like no, the inner child version of me like
Yeah.
wasn't healed. So it's about going back and like talking to that version. That's like how I've worked through it anyway. Like going back and
Mhm.
talking to that version of you, being the adult that they needed in that moment. and just kind of like smoothing over the memory almost, you know? So
Yeah.
I imagine you did a lot of that, right? Like layers and layers of it.
It went deep. It
Yeah.
went real, 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 real deep. And so I started with moving my body, started running again, and then I started with what you were talking about earlier, which was the EFT
Hmm.
tapping.
Hmm.
And I worked with a practitioner one-on-one for 3 months, but I went to her class. She's at a yoga studio. I went every week to her class. And then she had another program after that. And she's like one of my best friends. We're really, really good friends. She's amazing.
I love that.
I know, it was so sweet. And when I was kind of doing that, then I said, for some reason, I had a little voice come in and say meditation. So I started with just literally like a 5 minute meditation in the morning. And then I go, oh, I need more. So then I do it at night. It was just something online. It was like a free one.
I was
And then,
gonna say, so it was like a guided meditation.
yes,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
guided.
I
Um,
by the way, for the listeners, that's how I started as well, was guided meditations. Like
yes,
before I was able to just sit in quiet and listen to myself, I would
right.
listen to guided meditations all the time because
Totally recommend it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just talks you through how to do it, so why not?
Yeah. And it's just easy. It's just
Yep,
easy.
super easy.
Um, and then yeah, so I mean I was so religious and then I would journal also. And that was
Okay.
very therapeutic.
When you
Very
say journaling, would you start with any specific prompts or was it just kind of like getting your emotions out? Because I've done both.
getting my it's so funny because I didn't really understand journaling. I started about 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago. I didn't
Same, same.
yeah,
I'm a recent journaler myself, and
I
it
didn't
seemed
understand
silly at
it. I
first,
didn't
but
really understand it. And I didn't understand the whole prompts. Like, what? They're like,
yeah,
let me give you a journal prompt. I'm, well, what's that?
I
I
know.
understand now. Like,
Yeah,
okay, let's go back to download. I didn't understand what that was either. That was two
I know,
years ago.
I
I
know,
asked a
right?
friend.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
It's
like, what
kind
the
of
heck is
learning
a
like
download?
you have, well, it's like you have to go through your journey to like find what you value too.
Yeah,
Like it's not like
totally.
if it was as easy as like here, do these things, it's
Oh,
like
no. Yeah.
okay, no one would be sick or dealing with mental
Mm,
health issues or things like that.
exactly.
So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
something I feel like it presents itself to you at the perfect moment when you're ready,
Exactly.
you
When
know?
you're absolutely ready. It's all
Yep,
divine timing. Completely
exactly.
agree. So anyway, so started the meditation and those were the three that really were and the most recent, which has been the most profound is I'm working with a somatic coach, transformational coach. She's amazing. I started working with her. I met her in, let's see, February. I'm in another like online kind of community. And
Okay. Somatic work, by the way, I've actually never done it before, but and you and some other women in the group are like the first time I've heard of it before. So
it's deep.
maybe, if, yeah, I was gonna say, do you have like a couple sentence overview of like what that is essentially?
So somatic work can be as simple as singing,
Oh,
just
interesting.
or dancing, or EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, also referred to as tapping, and it gets the Chinese meridians. But you know that you grew up with that, and God bless
Yeah.
your dad.
Yeah.
So when we
I'm very
hear
grateful for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we hear somatic coaches or somatic, it's now the lady that and then the EFT. Now the woman that I'm working with now, what we do is we start out. We'll talk like this. We talk for like 10 minutes,
Okay.
and she kind of just hears about my week. And I remember before I had the first session, it was, well, do I have to prepare? She goes, oh no, just have life happen to you. I'm like, oh, okay. So
That's
then I tell,
actually really, that makes a lot of sense to me because it's like
yeah.
top of mind because your body always presents what you need to release like pretty much right
Yes.
away. So that makes
I
sense.
know. Isn't that
Mhm.
wild? So I'd tell
Yeah.
her about what's going on, and then she'd say, hey, you know what? I'm seeing a pattern of da 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 da. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, yeah, I wouldn't have picked that up. So then we go into a deep meditation. We kind of I get into kind of a trance. And she talks to my higher self. And then basically we kind of talk about it and then we pulls me out and then we're talking, but I guess I'm like at a higher state. It's kind of really interesting. And
So
then
you're like consciously like speaking, it's more like
yes,
conscious. Okay. Yeah.
yes. And then I think what we do is we go back in time, the very first time I ever felt whatever that pattern is.
Ah, that's usually where it then ties you back to probably inner child or just younger version of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but again, it could be 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
But when you go in, it's actually even more than 2 years ago. But
Oh,
it's something that you suppress and you don't. It could be anything. It could be, you know, I'm trying to not use a personal example. I keep thinking of all my personal examples. Use one of yours.
yeah. Oh, well, I was just gonna say, like, we're just people are like what they say on Shrek, like ogres are like onions. Well, so are humans. We're,
Yes, I
we're
like
like a
that.
layered cake, as Donkey says. Like
Yes,
there
yeah,
are layers to everything. If you think
right.
it's as easy as like, oh, I address that and move on, like I mean, honestly, sometimes in energy work, it is a one-time thing and you just have to process it and release it. But
Well,
sometimes it happened when you were young and the cycle continued and continued and
right.
continued. And you have
Yeah.
to peel back all the layers to then get to the root cause and then you can release it. So
Well, Audra, I'm going to tell you, this lady that I'm working with, honestly, I work it through and it's done.
that's awesome. That's
It
amazing.
it it is the most now the
Because you're
EF
tied, you're literally tapped into your higher self. Like what more pure form of connection can you have,
so
you
it's
know?
it's it's pretty exhausting. So that when I did the EFT, that was amazing. But I
Yeah.
was also not sleeping for 2.5 years
Mhm.
because my situation, I was woken up 3 to 4 times a night. And I'm
Yeah.
not going to touch on that, but
No,
the
that's
listeners
okay.
can, that was not healthy.
You were just not
Um,
getting your restful sleep you needed for
no,
a very, very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time. And so
That's worse
anyway,
than having a newborn.
it is worse than having a newborn.
Uh,
But my point is that when I started the EFT tapping, I was in fight or flight. I was a mess. I was not calm. My nervous system was not regulated. I was all over the board. I was
mhm.
all over the board. Yeah.
But you started, and that's like
Yeah.
that's the thing that I think a lot of people they just like
Don't.
maybe would be in a state like that, like there's no helping me, I can't get help. And it's like it might not look like what you want it to the first time you try something, but the fact that you started is what led you down your path, right?
Well, it was bad because it was not easy. I mean, I left everything
Mm.
and didn't know what was going to happen. That was complete surrender. That's the other thing for healing. I completely surrendered. I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know where my finances were going to be. I
Ugh.
had a dog. I had a daughter. I didn't know really anything.
Yeah.
And scary is putting it mildly. And I just said, oh, well, here we go.
That's like as scary as I can like see hear it in your words, like just that real raw emotion of like fear, but like also like how beautiful that like you had so much trust that whatever was on the other side for you was a better situation that you just yeah surrendered because that's something I even in my own personal work on myself everyone's always a work in progress, you're never fully
Yeah,
healed, right? But surrender is the hardest part of everything
it
is just
is.
knowing like you have to like know it's not just telling yourself, you have to like have that true knowing that it will work out. And that's I'm a control freak, so that's really
Oh,
hard. So
I've had bouts of that, maybe more than not, but
yeah.
it was complete surrender because yeah. But anyway, and I don't know what I was saying before that. You can reel me back
Oh,
in.
we were just kind of talking about the
Oh,
you
the
started with
deep work.
EFT. Yeah.
Yeah. So the deep work with this is you go back and okay, you go back in with this somatic work when with this coach I'm currently working with, and you feel that feeling. When was the first time you feel that feeling and you relive it? It's intense, Audra. But see, I think it's because I said to my coach, I said, I only have so much more time on this planet. I might only have, I don't know. I don't have a diagnosis of any, I don't have a clicker, but I'm older. I'm not super old, but I'm like, if I have 20 more, 30 more around the, plant, whatever, the sun or whatever it is.
Rotations around the sun or
Yeah.
the
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I'm not waiting anymore. I want this to be the best time. I want to heal.
You
I
reached your
want,
breaking point. You were done
yeah,
living
I'm
that way.
done. I am
Yeah.
done. So I'm done. I'm
You
going
were
deep.
forced to surrender, honestly, by the universe,
Completely.
it sounds
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
completely forced. So, I mean, in the beginning, she was like, oh my God. She goes, Kim, I don't have people that you're just going deep. So I would just go boom deep. I would feel it. It would be so intense, go through it, the tears, the tears, the tears. I felt it bodily. And I literally, like, there were a couple times, and then you go through it, and she has a safe haven and all that other. I'll get you her information and you can, do a session with her. But
Oh yeah.
it was so crazy that, like, there were times I literally felt my body change at a cellular level. I'm not kidding you.
I have heard that from a few people, like the I don't know. I don't know why this popped into my head, but I remember. Have you seen like a show like Naked and Afraid before?
No, but
Where
sounds good.
these people, it's funny, they'll find a male and a female and they'll get naked and drop them off in the middle of like a
Oh,
very like crazy part of the world, like the Sahara Desert, and they'll have no resources or anything like that.
no, thank you.
So a lot of the, I know, right? I literally, my dad always like makes fun of us girls, my sisters and I, because we were always like, we'd rather just die. I'm not doing that. Like,
No, no
you're
way.
not dropping me off in the middle of the Amazon with no resources and naked. No way.
No.
But the point I'm making is that they would literally, sometimes it'd be like 18 days and they haven't had a meal or something like
Oh
that. And
God.
so they'll like find like something like kind of pathetic, like a bunch of like bugs or something, some kind of protein source. Like maybe they found a snake and they killed it and they're like eating this
Yeah.
dinner. And they'll one thing I've noticed every time when they're in that starvation mode is like, I can feel my body breaking down the protein. And I always
Oh,
thought they were like full of crap, but I'm like, no, I
yeah.
think that's legitimate because and what you're talking like you feel your cells like I've had that before in meditation where I like
Yeah.
literally feel my cells like buzzing and it's like they're
Yeah.
reconfiguring themselves and
Yes.
also
Isn't it
I totally
wild?
know it, you know when you know that feeling. You know what I
You
mean?
do know when you know that feeling. And it's
Mhm.
also interesting too because you can you can change, like, I don't even, your body lags behind. Your
Yes.
vessel lags behind in the change. Like,
Well, right,
you
because our
do the work.
energy is like 5D and above, right? But our body
Yeah.
is still 3D, so they have
Yeah.
to catch up. Yeah. Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
that's probably kind of the craziest, hardest thing. And then just, toggling the coming back down to 3D and being here. But yeah,
Hmm.
no, it was, and I'm still working with her. I'm working with her. I'm doing another 3 months, but it's
Oh, that's
it's
good.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. But I have so much gratitude. I mean, Jessica's community. I've met so many amazing people, and just have gratitude for every day.
Absolutely. I know it's like once you kind of start like meeting your people in this space, it's like that all of a sudden people will kind of like come in front of you at just the right time and like
Yeah,
that's how I found it to be anyway. So it's like
yeah,
if you're on your spiritual journey and you're wondering if there's like people like you, just
yeah,
start. You don't even have to really look. If something kind of presents itself in front of you and it feels like it's
yeah,
something you want to do, just do it and you'll
yeah.
find your people and your support system. It's like crazy how it happens, you know what
I
I
know it is, isn't it?
mean?
I know.
So,
It's so funny.
well, this has been beautiful, and I kind of want to
Oh,
like
good.
tie up some of the stuff we're talking about with like
Okay.
I'm Miss Practical. Everything I do, I love
I
to
love
have a
that.
practical tool and something people can walk away with. So, my question for you then is for someone who's struggling with symptoms of or like a chronic illness or an autoimmune disease, something like that. What are some of the simple practical tools you'd suggest that they try?
Well, I would start very, very simple, and I would start with meditation.
Hmm.
Don't be intimidated by it. There's so many free resources out there.
Yeah.
There is, what's the timer one? That one. I can't think of
Oh, is
it.
it like an app?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
so
I
many instant timer or something, but there's so many free resources, or go on YouTube. If it's 5 minutes, but just quiet your brain because reprogramming your subconscious neuroplasticity,
Mhm.
that's Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's it's
I've
it,
talked
it's
about that before in this podcast, actually,
it's
is
the
like
ticket.
how, yeah,
That's
it
truly the
literally
ticket.
changes you. Hmm.
It changes you. And don't be discouraged, and just take it one day at a time, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Just take it one day at a time.
That's great. Yeah, I definitely like that stuff that works not just for illness, like physical illness. It's anything you're going through. If you start
Right.
with meditation,
Yeah.
almost always, if you stay consistent and do things like
Yes.
that, the problem will always present itself to you, or the memory will present itself to you. Whatever needs worked on in your body, even if it feels
Yeah.
completely unrelated, right?
Exactly.
It's like,
Yeah.
why am I thinking of this one random time in PE class? You know, it's like obviously something happened to you that your
Yeah,
body's
I
like
love
having a
that.
hard time with.
I
So
love that.
don't ever discount like what your body's trying to present to you, right? So
Right.
only
And
through meditation have I been able to find those things. So I think
and
that's great.
and I would also get a support system too. Because if you want to make, you say, I want to make the change, you're probably going to need a new support system because you're, and it might be tricky. And it might be a therapist. It might be a therapist and a new friend. It might be a community. And just, I didn't have anything. I started all new. And
Yeah.
I really suggest that because you're going to need your people to rally.
Well, you're like the phoenix that rose
Hmm.
from the ashes, literally. Like you
That's
were the
exactly
human
it.
embodiment of a phoenix that like
Yeah.
you kind of
Thank you.
burned it all down and
I
started over
did.
again. And it's beautiful to see like what kind of transformation that can bring. I mean, like you were symptom free from a disease you've lived with for 25 years that you were told
Yeah.
you wouldn't even like probably live a good long life from. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like don't fear change. I think that's something
Right.
a lot of people fear is like,
Hmm.
oh, well, there's nothing better beyond this. I might as well just stay miserable. And it's like, no,
No,
that's not the case. Like,
that is not the ticket. Yeah,
yeah, how many
exactly.
people do we all know living that way where you're like, man, if only you would
Yeah.
just like not fear the change, like something good
Mm.
would happen, you know? So I'd love to see that for you on the
Yeah.
other side.
Well,
So
Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's all about that.
yeah. Oh, good, good. Well,
Neuroplasticity.
I need to read more about Dr. Joe Dispenza. He comes up a
Yeah.
lot. So well, so then tying into that, your story obviously carries a very powerful message, which I kind of talking to you, it's that if we don't heal our emotional wounds, they're going to manifest in our bodies. I've
Yeah.
been taught that my whole life. You
Hmm.
literally lived it.
Yeah.
What do you want people most that are listening today to take away from your journey?
Oh, I mean, along, I would just say also be very compassionate with yourself.
Yes.
Forgive yourself. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
However and why you're in your situation.
Yep.
And just know that the universe will help you and just be really, I mean, there were a lot of times at the end, I just had a lot of tears of why am I even in this situation?
You know, I have found I don't think I've cried as much as I have just in the last 2 years since my spiritual journey. And not
Oh,
always
yeah.
for like bad things. Sometimes I'm crying and I
No.
don't know why.
Yeah.
So
Why am I crying? Yeah.
I've learned to understand that like tears are the body's most like efficient and effective way to burn or purge negativity.
So
So
true.
yeah, maybe that's something to kind of tack onto that is like don't
Yeah.
fear tears. Feel your emotions
Well,
because
that's it.
if you're
Yeah.
not processing them, where are they going? They're stuck in
Yeah.
you. So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah, tears are something I've been uncomfortable with a lot of my life. And now I'm like, oh, I'll
Oh.
cry over just
Oh.
like my daughter looking at me just the right way. And I'm like,
Oh. I
oh, you're
love
so
that.
sweet, you know? Okay, well, like let's leave on a high note then. What do
Yeah.
you do now in your healing and what are you like how are you feeling? Like
Oh,
what's
feeling
life on the
good.
other
I'm
side?
having a blast with my podcast. It's the Lightkeeper's Path. It's super fun. And I've got my healing business, which is amazing. So I do everything via Zoom and it's Reiki and basically it's body, mind, spirit. I'm also doing some transformational coaching with people. So like I'll have a container with somebody for like, a month and we just put goals, kind of assess, okay, where are we? And then what are our goals? And then support them for a month and get through
Oh,
and
I
help
love
them reach
that.
their goals.
You're
Yeah.
giving back in that way. Like
Yeah.
you didn't just heal and move on. It's like you are passionate about helping others like get through the same
Exactly.
stuff. So I think that's
Yeah.
like that giving back piece is something like even in manifestation practice, I know
Mm.
is giving generously, right?
Right.
That's a huge piece. If you want to receive, you got to give too. And what's
Exactly.
funny about it is what you give, you get back 10x. So I
Yes,
have no doubt that
exactly.
the people you're helping heal are sending you all the positive healing energy
Mm.
back as well. So
Oh, thank you.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I am just I'm so honored, Kim, that you came and talked
Mm.
about this journey you've been on, the good, bad, and ugly of it all. 'Cause let's be honest, like what illness has like 99% happiness to it. So, I'm just gonna recognize like you've been through it and
Oh,
you're on the
thank
other
you, Audra.
side, a whole human living a beautiful life and
Mm.
helping others. So thank you so much for being so open
No.
and honest and just sharing your story today. So
Mm. Thank you.
yeah, going back to like she was living with MS for 25 years to now being virtually symptom free. your story is just showing what's possible when we're willing to heal from the inside out. So
Thank you
thank
so much,
you
Audra.
so much for being here today, Kim. And like I said, I will link Kim's information here in the show notes for any of our listeners that want to get in contact with you and talk more about any of your offerings, or maybe even just I have a feeling you'd be willing to talk to them about any illness
Oh,
stories as well. And
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead and
Kim
send
is
me an
so
email.
generous, you guys.
Absolutely.
Seriously. She's amazing. So
Oh, thank you, Audra.
okay, Kimberly. Well, I can't thank you enough for this, and I just hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and thank you for sharing your story again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Audra. It was a
Awesome.
pleasure.
We'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay.